Okay, on to day 17 of the 31 Days of Tarot Video Challenge, and today is focused on your tarot journal. Well, guess what? I am super type A, and I have multiple tarot journals, so I'm going to show you a couple different ones. First up, I have my big, fat, awesome ARC notebook that has all my notes from courses that I've done. I have the Tarot Readers Academy Apprentice, all my notes from there, from the Skype calls, printouts of all my homework assignments from that. I have a section on numerology. I have a section on working with different decks. I have my notes from the Apprentice Tarot Readers Academy court cards session. So this is where all my notes and study resources go. Then I have the journal, or I have the notebook of spreads. So this is a journal where I specifically focus on different spreads. I have a list of, like, here are just some of the quickies, the 2-card spreads. I have a section of moon and zodiac spreads. So I try to write down, like, who they're from. So, like, here's one from Jess Carlson, where I just wrote down, like, what's in it. I have printouts of some of the ones from, like, here's one of Anthony's full moon in Leo. I have printouts of some of, like, Noble Lion Prince, her full moon in Capricorn spread. I have ones for money and business. Like this one from Little Red Tarot, which is fantastic. She has some great stuff. Relationship spreads, Sabbats, like Ancestor Tarot spread, Sacred Flowers of Beltane. So, other, which is just, you know, Little Red Tarot's Revolution spreads. So yeah, sometimes these are, you know, a bunch of get to know your new deck spreads. So yeah, so this is my, essentially my spread Bible. And then I have a brand new tarot journal that was a gift from my lovely friend Maureen. And this one is really cool. It's by Code and Quill. And one of the things I love about this is, as I go back to some of the parts that are not open yet, written on yet, it's got, one side is kind of liney, and the other side is like these little grid dots. And you know what's awesome about that? The little grid dots are awesome for drawing out spreads. Like, if you're gonna do a spread and you want to draw out what you actually did, it's great for that. I had just started there, and like, here's my first entry in here. So I write down, like, what, you know, what spread I used, what each thing is, what deck I used. So Knight of Pentacles, Nine of Swords reversed, Page of Cups reversed. I underlined the cards that are reversed in my spreads. I also use this journal, like here you can see I reflect on different, like here's a reading that I did talking about how that particular card plays out in that particular reading. I used this journal to pull together some of my thoughts for this challenge, like outlining thoughts on one of my stalker cards, or the decks that I finally crossed off my wish list, or tarot decks I'm working with in 2017. Slow Holler, Slow Holler, Slow Holler. Gypsy Palace, Lioness Oracle Tarot. So you can see that I use this for a lot of different things. I have, as I mentioned before, I have one deck, or one journal dedicated specifically to my Sacred Creators Oracle journey, because that's a very unique deck, and that one's more of a process. I also have an Excel workbook that I use for daily draws. And I know that sounds totally dorky, but hear me out. One of the things that I love about that is I can go back and look at, I can easily see how many times this particular card came up in daily draws. Did they all come from the same deck? Are there recurring patterns? Like, it makes it really easy to see, oh, hey, in the last week, I've drawn all swords. I can look at that really easily. One of the other things that I just tuned into about the seeing if all the cards that are stalker cards are from the same deck, Tarot Readings from a Bitch, who is on Instagram and she blogs, and if you don't follow her, stop what you're doing right now and go follow her, because she is funny as hell and just dark and awesome. But she recently blogged that when she has a stalker card and it's all from the same deck, to her, that's the deck naming her and telling her who the deck thinks she is. And I thought that was really interesting. And if you've seen some of my previous posts on stalker cards, I had the Hierophant something ridiculous like 31 times in 1 year. And I went back and looked, and yeah, that was all from one deck. So apparently, the Pagan Cats Tarot thinks that I am the Hierophant, which I can live with that. But I just thought that was a very interesting take on that. It's, but I love having the spreadsheet. Again, my awesome friend Maureen came up with it, shared it with me. There's a pivot table. We're so geeky. It's awesome. Like, geeks rule the world. But that is how I track my readings, and that's what all my different tarot journals look like. And I know it might seem excessive, but it works for me, and that's what matters. Find a system that works for you, stick with it. Winning.